Naruto's path to power, perfect Jinchuriki and unstoppable rise against Konoha's root. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 41. Naruto finally knew why pain was as thin as a dry corpse. Eyes of this level are simply not something that a vortex bloodline can afford. That is, the reincarnation of Asura and Indra chakra between Uchiha and Senjuku can barely be used. And to really exert his true power, only by becoming a 10-tailed human pillar power can it be regarded as truly exerting this power. This is also the reason why Uchiha is desperate to become a 10-tailed human pillar force. Wait for Naruto to exit the reincarnation eye chakra mode. The chakra in his body has already consumed nearly half. Naruto touched his chin and muttered, "It seems that this thing can only be used as a whole card." Naruto then glanced at the system panel. Host, Naruto Uzumaki. Position, none. Talent, Vortex Bloodline, Chakra Precise Control. Special abilities, Nine-Tailed Chakra, Asura Chakra, Activated, Wave Feng Shui Gate Chakra, Uzumaki Jyo Shurnai Chakra, Bagua Seal, Reincarnation Eye. Skills, Spiral Pill Series, Multiple Shadow Doppelganger Art, 8 Doors Dunjia, 3 Body Art, Shuriken Art, Would Escape Secret Art, Asura Immortal Art. Item, Chakra Multiplier Card. Protagonist Halo, Full Level, Current Stage. Combat Effectiveness, 300. Destiny, 0. Among the special abilities, Asura Chakra appears to have been activated and has an additional Reincarnation Eye ability. In terms of skills, Mudun and Immortal Art have also been added. The unused Chakra Multiplier card is on the system panel as an item. And this time, the increase in strength directly caused Naruto's strength to soar by 100 combat power. You must know that the 300 combat power is not much different from the combat power of Sun Wukong in the Vic Great Demon King episode. At this time, Naruto could basically resist the detonation charm with his physical body. Naruto put away the system. I finally lived a life lying flat. As long as you beat a child every day, your strength can soar rapidly. He is now thinking about whether to stop the ape flying sun from killing the Uchiha family so that he can brush his destiny points. Then Naruto thought, there are only a few names that appear in the plot of Uchiha. Even if he keeps the Uchiha family, he can't brush a few experiences. And the group of urban administrators who have blocked themselves for no reason, and they have been the ones who have been eating overlord meals everywhere to find themselves the most troublesome over the years. With the expansion of desire, now this group of guys can't move and directly arrest people and lock them up for a while. The arrogant attitude has begun to cause strong dissatisfaction among various ninjas and civilians. But none of this had anything to do with Naruto. At this time, he was happy to become a fairly qualified ninja school teacher. On the edge of Konoha village, Naruto yelled at the students in Sasuke's class, "Starting today, everyone must run 10 laps slowly around Konoha. In the ninja world, only strength is king, and you rookie chickens are too weak. Next, I will teach you the first 3 doors of the S-grade forbidden 8 doors, Dunjia. Those who want to become ninjas run for me, and those who don't want to run, quickly quit school and get out, and the provincial task is choked behind me." The students below wailed. A civilian ninja shouted in dissatisfaction, "Why do we still practice physical arts? What we want to learn is ninjutsu, and I don't want to run around Konoha like a fool." Naruto's eyes flashed coldly. Directly using physical skills, he instantly appeared in front of him and kicked out, "You're fired." The students below suddenly fell silent and looked at Naruto in horror. Naruto sneered and said to them, "Think I'm joking? Here, I am your practical teacher. If you want to give advice, beat me first." Everyone shuddered. Sasuke snorted coldly, turned around and ran around Konoha without speaking. Even the Uchiha clan took the lead in obeying, and the remaining civilian ninjas naturally did not dare to speak. So in Konoha, dozens of students shouting slogans every day and running drills has become a beautiful landscape. And at this time the border of Konoha village, several mist ninjas are frantically fleeing. A bitter shot came, and the already tired mist feint instantly went to the bottom again. The promoted captain's face was ugly, and he didn't expect to run into the trickiest character in the dark manual. Abominable. The people of Wuin village looked back at the dark part that was chasing after them. As a result, in the next second, there was a shrill sound of birdsong. Brainwashing 1. Plover. With a pop, an arm flashing with thunder and lightning went straight through the ninja's heart. Yamato, who was chasing behind, laughed. "Senior's ratchet is still so beautiful." "Pretty?" Kakashi glanced indifferently at his palm, and Rin's blood appeared in his eyes again. What's so beautiful and ugly about assassination? Killing is killing. Having been in contact with Konoha's darkest missions for many years, the darkness in his heart became deeper and deeper at this time. Yamato laughed awkwardly twice. "By the way, when will the people in our class be able to make up for it?" Kakashi said indifferently, "Don't worry, it's not a time of war, anyway, someone will come then." After saying that, Kakashi turned around and flashed towards Konoha. Yamato looked at Kakashi's state as he pulled himself out of the darkness a little worried, but he didn't have much to say. When it comes time to return to Konoha, episode 42, Kakashi looked at the ninja school students running circles around Konoha with a confused expression. The leader Matkai shouted slogans while shouting, "Ah, youth! Burn it, youth! This is youth." The little strong people behind them were stared at by the strange eyes of the villagers, but they had to yell along with Kai, because behind them was a slow Naruto with a teaching whip staring at them. As soon as someone is lazy, the whip will not hesitate to hit them on the ass. At this time, Kai saw Kakashi, who was hanging out. He stopped and asked Kakashi, "Ha, Kakashi? Look at how many more disciples I have now, what's wrong with you? Look at you tired, just finished the task?" Many small powerhouses behind him also hurriedly sat on the ground to rest. And at this time, Sunset Red walked out from not far away, holding a cup of milk tea in his hand and handing it to Naruto, who came forward, smiling at Kai. "Kai, you are an idiot. How can the Dark Department leak mission information to the outside world? Naruto gave it to you." "Thank you, Sister Hong." Naruto smiled and unceremoniously took the milk tea in Hong's hand. Asma, who was licking the dog, straightened her eyes when she saw envy. And when the students heard Kakashi's identity in the shadows, they immediately looked adored. For civilian ninjas, being a dark part is their highest honor. Kai looked at the arriving Red and Asma and said to Naruto, "Let's run here today, let's go to the dango shop to eat dango." As soon as these words came out, the little strongman immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Although everyone's physical fitness soared, the level of training at this level was too terrifying. Then Kai said to Kakashi, "Kakashi, come too." However, Kakashi walked past everyone indifferently and said, "Sorry, I'm not a big sweet tooth." Looking at the distant Kakashi, Matkai was heartbroken. That guy, when did he become so withdrawn? Red looked at Kakashi and sighed and said, "Maybe it's a relationship of dark secrecy." And at this time, Naruto came up and said with a smile, "You don't understand, only an unlucky child who is hurt by love will close himself up, and he must have become like this because of a woman." Matkai's eyes were on fire, and he shouted hotly, "Nope. That's impossible. Kakashi is my eternal opponent. There must be a sincerity hidden in the heart." Whoops. In that case, I had to take action. Red and Asma looked at Matkai with black lines on their heads. "You?" Only Naruto smiled, ready to watch the liveliness. Sure enough, Kai led a few people directly to the Hokage building. In the Hokage lounge, Matkai respectfully knelt in front of the ape flying sun and shouted, "Please let me join the Dark Ministry." The corners of the ape flying sun's eyes jumped wildly. "Who did this TM pry, this hot-blooded fool? The dark part is confidential. This Nima, you fight, first," shouted Konoha Whirlwind, "who can stand it? And there is no right or wrong in many tasks in the Dark Department. An emotional guy like K will definitely not act according to the task. You this." Ape Fei thought for a long time, not knowing how to reply to him. However, Kai saw this and kowtowed repeatedly. "For Kakashi, this is the best way to go." Sarutobi sighed in relief. It turned out to be Kakashi's sake, and he thought that someone was deliberately disgusting him. Sarutobi said with a smile, "Kai, I know you care about Kakashi, but you have to understand that the so-called right material is the right place, and your strengths cannot be used in the dark part." Kaden was excited. "Nope. You don't care about my 3 generations, as Kakashi's partner, I." Ape Flying Sun chopped his forehead and exposed the green tendons. "This TM fool," a little cryptic expression cannot be understood. Sarutobi was so angry that he swung his head directly to the other side and loudly refused. "Shut up. You don't fit into the dark part. KY, Omega Omega." Kai's expression instantly froze, and he walked out of the Hokage lounge with a shock. Suitable for. Unhappy. Fit. Not suitable for. Naruto, Red, and Asma watched the burning Kai smile blossom. Red asked a little unbearably, "This guy is okay?" Naruto smiled, "You underestimate Teacher Kai." At this time, Tuanzo walked out of the corridor with 2 roots. Kai was overjoyed when he saw this. That, Danzo-sama." Danzo looked at Kai strangely. "What's wrong?" Kai was immediately excited when he saw the play. "Please let me enter the dark part under Master Tuanzo." Tuanzang's face turned black. "If you let you in, turn your head and expose all your secrets." "Yours is not enough, huh?" "What is not enough?" Tuanzang opened his gloomy eyes and said, "Darkness." After saying that, Kai, who ignored the confused look, walked straight towards the room where the 3 generations were. When he passed by Naruto's 3, his eyes glanced at Naruto unconsciously. The malice that emanated made Naruto raise his eyebrows unconsciously. It seems that this old man has not given up on taking himself into his hands. "I hope you can be more interesting. otherwise I don't mind giving up your experience, baby, and directly kill and pull down. And Kai's behavior also made a memory resurfacing in Naruto's mind. Is it already this time? Naruto muttered unconsciously. Red on the side asked strangely, when? Naruto smiled and shook his head, nothing. But he knew in his heart that Uchiha would soon join the Dark Department as a double agent. This means that there is only half a year left until the night of extermination. And the Hokage lounge on the other side, Tuanzong directly questioned the three generations when he entered the door. Look at the pillar power of the people you guide, the day slash. He has now ignored the rules and directly passed on all the 8 forbidden arts to those little fart children. Episode 43. Ape Feiry's face was a little gloomy. He also didn't expect Naruto to give the 8-door Doinjia directly to the group of little fart children as a compulsory course in ninja school. But it was his idea to make Naruto a teacher, and Naruto's starting point was indeed to improve Konoha's power. Fortunately, he asked Naruto, only the first 3 doors were taught to them, and only after entering the 4th wounded door could it be regarded as entering the state of entering the 8-door Doinjia in the true sense. So Naruto didn't involve the secret art of revealing the core. And this thing is in the exchange sequence even after becoming a ninja. It just so happens that this is when the families come to school, so it should be their own attitude. After all, you can't just knock them and not give them carrots. Ape Fei Richo looked at Tuanzong and said lightly, if you say this, I agree, the level of forbearance of recent graduation is a bit worrying. This time I am ready to experiment and form a specialty class to try. The original 3-man squad was originally drawn out by Tsunade, with 2 combatants, plus a medical ninja. However, although the survival rate of ninjas has greatly improved, medical ninjas are undoubtedly a lagging figure in the ranks. After all, the 3 major rules of medical ninjas are not to be at the forefront, not to give up the treatment of teammates, and not to die before anyone in the squad. Although this can greatly improve the survivability of the ninja, it greatly affects the success rate of the mission. For Sarutobi Hinata, this affects Konoha's reputation. So after Tsunade left Konoha, Sarutobi Hinata had been looking for a suitable opportunity to reorganize the ninja squad. And the addition of the heirs of the various ninja clans is undoubtedly a good opportunity. The occult enhancement team headed by Hyuga Butterfly, the reconnaissance enhancement team led by Hinata, Shino, and Inazukaya, and the physical enhancement team of Ninji, Ten, and Shaoli, the subjects of the previous experiment. Originally, Sarutobi was most optimistic about the human pillar force composed of Uchiha Sasuke and Naruto Vortex and the ace team that controlled the human pillar force. As a result, now because Naruto's strength is too strong, he has to give up this plan. Or the need to reconsider Naruto's position. Now that people are becoming more and more lawless, there are even some grievances below, and every day in addition to rubbing everywhere to eat and drink, it is to find women. Son Chopper, give me the human pillar force, I will make him a qualified weapon. Ape Fei sneered in his heart, but there was a scowl on his face. Shut up, Danzo, Naruto is the child of the 4th generation of Hokage, he has sacrificed too much for Konoha, he deserves it. Compared to his unfinished grandson, Naruto is now much more tactful. Ever since Sarutobi Shinosuke, he has always felt that the most sorry person is Konohamaru. So far, he has not found out who killed the couple. So naturally spoiled Konohamaru in every way. In the same way, the villagers were disgusted with Naruto, with the 9 tails sealed in his body. And for Konohamaru, this is a smiley face. It was good for him to have Naruto bear the abuse for his grandson. If it weren't for Naruto, he was worried that Naruto's strength would be too strong to be controlled. Now Naruto's sword just eliminated the possibility of him being a Hokage, which was naturally a good thing for Sarutobi Hinata. After all, Naruto's identity is there, the son of the 4th generation of Jinmasa Miaohong. If he shows the same personality charm as the 4 generations, it will cause the jealousy of Ape Flying Sun. Tuanzong looked at the resolute Ape Flying Sun Chop with an ugly face. Sun Chop. You will regret it. Ape Flying Sun snorted coldly. Danzo, I'm the Hokage, I don't want to say the same thing a second time. If you came because of this matter, then you can go back. Danzo's face turned livid when he heard the word Hokage, because he was a second late at the last moment, and as a result, he lost the position of Hokage. Now this guy holds this sentence all day Yin Yang himself, TMs. Tuanzong couldn't help but scold in his heart. Immediately, he changed his tone and thought of the main meaning of this time. I can ignore the matter of human pillar power, but this time I will ask you for someone. A hint of ridicule flashed in Ape Fei's eyes, and he pretended to be curious and asked, who? Talk about it. Tuanzo pretended not to be there. Uchiha Itachi, Hinata, he is already a full-fledged dark ninja, you can hand him over to me. A sure expression flashed in Ape Fei Sunchop's eyes. He said with a smile, Uchiha Itachi is a member of the Uchiha clan, and your roots can't train him with his chakra eyes, and I've already found him a captain. You also know, Kiki Kakashi, the only foreign clan with chakra eyes, no one is more suitable for bringing Itachi than him. Wasn't that why you recommended him to come in the first place? Tuanzang's face was ugly when he heard this. It was almost Kakashi who was his own in the first place. As a result, I don't know what Hinata fooled him, unexpectedly rebelled at the last moment. If he successfully assassinated the ape flying sun, it should be himself who is sitting in the Hokage's office now. At this point, Sarutobi said that Kakashi was obviously beating himself. Don't forget that he had assassinated him, and he had not yet been held accountable. Tuanzang snorted coldly, and led the two roots to walk towards the door angrily. Ape Fei smiled and smoked a cigarette. Of course, Uchiha Itachi will arrange for you. After all, there is still a big black cauldron that you need to carry. The power of root development over the years has swelled very seriously. It's time to take this tissue that was supposed to pump blood to the dark part and return it to the dark part. Sarutobi is not just planning Uchiha, it is also the root of the fat that has been raised. Now Naruto's strength has initially emerged. The ape-flying sun chop no longer needs Tuanzang to attract hatred and balance the various ninja races. The night of extinction is not just the demise of Uchiha. Danzo was even removed from the position of Hokage assistant by the sun, and the hard-cultivated roots were also disrupted and merged into the dark part. Sarutobi knocked on his cigarette bag. It's time for him to take a good look at the people he is preparing to mutiny. Episode 44. Just a month ago, the Uchiha Itachi, who has just joined the dark part, is only 11 years old. This is definitely an unprecedented age in the dark part. Even Kakashi joined after he was 12 years old after experiencing the Battle of Shinmubaibashi. Those ordinary dark ninjas were naturally extremely jealous of him. When he joined the team, he used his shuriken and kunai to fly around him to scare him. But with Uchiha Itachi's shuriken technique, he was not moved at all. After showing a wave of shuriken collision and bending techniques, those civilian shadows finally realized that some people were younger than them, but their strength was much stronger than them. Yamato looked at Uchiha and frowned. Strength is no problem, but entering the dark part at such a young age is indeed a special case. Kakashi looked at Itachi and said lightly, I heard that it was recommended by Lord Tuanzo. Yamato's brows furrowed even deeper after hearing this. Him? I can't see it. Kakashi was stunned. What do you mean? Yamato explained to Kakashi, Danzo-sama has an independent set of criteria for selecting important members of the Dark Department and Root. Kakashi asked with a puzzled look, what standard? Yamato smiled bitterly, I can't say that. But he was put under the seal of the tongue. If the person who was cast said anything about him, he would be paralyzed, unable to speak or move. Kakashi seemed to understand this as well, so he didn't delve into it. But Yamato knew it very well in his heart. The first condition for Tuanzang to choose the dark part is the darkness in the heart. Only those whose hearts are full of darkness will be picked by him. The problem is that Uchiha is an 11-year-old child. Yamato couldn't think of why he was chosen by Danzo anyway. Even if his heart is dark, he can be black, and he is still the genius son of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan. What Yamato didn't know, however, was, on the day Uchiha joined the Dark Division, Danzo and Uchiha Fugaku find Uchiha at the same time to talk. Fugaku looked at his son with satisfaction and spoke. I am sincerely glad that you can enter the dark part, he said, then he changed his tone. But you must keep my words in mind, you are a member of the Dark Department of Konoha, but you are also a Itachi of the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha clan has been appointed to be in charge of Konoha's security work, but it has also been stripped from the core center of the village, and our clan needs our own eyes and ears, please, Itachi. Uchiha watched his father clench his fists. He remembered his meeting with Danzo before he became a dark ministry. Tuanzo once said something similar. Uchiha Fugaku is the leader of the previous generations of police captains. It should be said that it is really worthy of your father. This is not a mockery. The Uchiha clan was given autonomy by Konoha, and the Uchiha area was separated from the center by the village, and we can't intervene directly. That's why I need my own eyes and ears, please. Weasel. In the case of preconceptions, Uchiha instantly felt that his father chose to make himself a spy in order to fight for power. For a while, the scales in the weasel's heart began to tilt. For the next month, Uchiha Itachi began to follow Kakashi on duty. Basically, it is mainly based on guarding the ape-flying sun. The main purpose is to establish the image of the 3 generations of Hokage as loyal and conscientious to the village. Until a few days after Kai found Sarutobi and asked to join the Dark Division, Tuanzo once again found the ape-flying sun to discuss the mission. Kakashi asked Uchiha, who was standing outside the door of Hokage's office, "Are you used to it?" The ferret shook his head and said, "Not yet." Kakashi said strangely, "It surprised me." Itachi explained, "I haven't been on a mission yet." Kakashi suddenly realized that the guard he had been standing all this time made him a little anxious. Serving as Naruto-sama's guard is one of the missions. Itachi looked at Kakashi suspiciously and asked, Dark Ministry, isn't it an assassination tactical special force? Kakashi explained, because now that countries are truce, there is no need for so many assassination missions. And at this time, the door opened. Sarutobi walked out of the office with his back handed. He glanced at Uchiha silently, and then said to Kakashi, Kakashi. I just sent a squad publicly, but Tuanzo thinks that there is something strange behind the character, and this one cannot be ignored, so I will send a dark department in private. Kakashi frowned. That is, this is not Hokage's order, is it? Sarutobi didn't speak, just commanded, before leaving, follow Danzo's instructions. Kakashi knew that this mission should be unsightly. And at this time, the voice of the group hidden inside the door came, ostensibly peaceful diplomacy, we want to exchange information with the ninjas of the country of the forest at the border. But I think this is most likely a trap for the enemy, and this is also agreed by Sandaime. Therefore, it is necessary to send a dark department to protect the troops who openly carry out the mission, and once the other party betrays, directly attack them and kill them without leaving a single one. Kakashi turned his head to look back, and the scarlet Sharingan eyes showed such an expression, annihilation? Tuanzong closed his eyes and said lightly, they must know that Konoha does not allow betrayal. Kakashi nodded, I want to form a two-person squad with Itachi. Tuanzong smiled slightly, yes, this is also the condition he agreed with Sarutobi Hinata, sending him back to Danzo once Uchiha is available. Kakashi nodded, then we leave. And at this time, Tuanzong suddenly spoke up, Kakashi, I admire you in the dark part, and even want to dig you into the root again. Please stop laughing. Tuanzong narrowed his eyes and said seriously, no, you have this qualification. Dark qualifications. Kakashi was silent for a moment and turned to leave directly. And the next day, a dark part appeared in front of Naruto, who was beating up the child. Naruto looked at the dark part in amazement and lost his voice. What? The old man asked me to go on a mission? A look of disgust flashed in the dark eyes. The notice has arrived, let's go to the Hokage Tower as soon as possible. After speaking, the dark part disappeared directly. P.S. How is it? My cover does not hang. Episode 45. Naruto touched his chin. Ape Flying Sun Chop lost heart crazy? Unexpectedly let himself out of the village to carry out a mission. This should have been after graduating from the ninja school, so that Naruto was tested as a human pillar force to run away. And so on. With his current strength, it is not impossible to have this idea in advance. After all, the strength he has shown is already exaggerated, and it is quite possible to test his heart. Naruto touched his chin. Does this count as public tourism? I haven't been out of Konoha village since I crossed over. After all, a 6-year-old Julie can't make you run around. By the time Naruto arrived at the mission pickup, there were already 3 people waiting there in advance. Yo, that's a lot. Is it finally time to carry out the mission? Naruto looked surprised. It turned out to be his own teacher Matkei, and behind him stood 2 Naka shinobi and an old man with a pot back. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Isn't this the 10,000-year-old shinobi Maru Hashikosuke? It is clear that he has the strength of upper patience, but because of his mistakes, his teammates died, so he was willing to be a lower ninja for the rest of his life. Plus, Matkei is 2 upper shinobi. It seems that this mission is not simple. The 2 Naka shinobi looked at Naruto with shocked expressions. Naruto-sama, the helper you said wouldn't be him, would it? You know, Naruto is not even a ninja. Although he is not too short, he is actually only 6 years old. Isn't it fun to take a 6-year-old kid on a mission? Except for the Konoha high level, Naruto's strength was not known at all. They also thought that this was Sarutobi/Gilding, the son of the 4th generation of Hokage. And Matkei on the side laughed. Don't underestimate Naruto, he is my disciple, and his strength is much stronger than the 2 of you. What? No way. The 2 Naka ninja were dumbfounded. Ape Flying Sun Chopper said with a smile. Okay, Kai is right. Naruto divided hundreds of shadow doppelgangers at the entrance ceremony of the ninja school. If you can do it, you will complain about me. The 2 Naka shinobi suddenly looked at Naruto with shocked expressions. Hundreds? Naruto pouted. The hundreds of shadow doppelgangers who were still shinobi combat power. If it is with the original Naruto's shadow doppelganger who can't punch it, Lao Tzu can divide thousands of them, it's no problem. And Matkei looked at Naruto with a shocked expression. Didn't you say you didn't have a talent for ninjutsu, so you came to learn physical arts? Naruto said with a smile. I suddenly got a glimpse of my brain, and I suddenly had a talent for ninjutsu. When Matkei heard this, he immediately looked at Naruto with envy. Why don't I get the hang of it? The ape flying sun on the side rolled his eyes wildly. Just your IQ, get the hang of it. People Naruto's ninjutsu talent exploded early in the morning, purely because he wanted to learn the 8 doors of Dunjia to fool you. Okay. Sarutobi interrupted the two with a smile. Since everyone has arrived, I will tell you about your mission. Your mission is to keep in touch with the people of the forest country. Sarutobi pointed to an episode seal scroll on the table and said, Konoha needs to hand over this scroll, and in contrast, exchange it with the scroll of the general crowd. Hearing this, Matkai stepped forward and picked up the scroll and asked, Need to confirm the contents? Sarutobi nodded and said, This is to confirm whether both sides are trustworthy. If a forgery is found, it means that the land of forest has no intention of forming an alliance with the Fire Nation. Matkai nodded. In short, just bring it back directly if there is no abnormal situation, right? Sarutobi nodded. That's right. Although there is currently no hostile relationship with the country of the forest, no one knows what will happen, so you must be careful when acting. When Matkai heard this, he immediately raised his thumb. Wrap it around me. And Naruto listened to the task of ape flying sun slash into deep thought. Like everyone? Isn't this thing the group of people who sought revenge on Tuanzo when the 5 Kages talked? So to speak, now is the time for the Wanruashong and Konoha to forge a bond? Shouldn't they be retaliating against the ape flying sun? How did they run to fight the group? Wait until everyone is halfway there. Naruto raised an eyebrow. He spotted 2 chakras following him closely. So it is. A playful smile appeared on Naruto's face. Some forgotten memories of his past life emerged. It seems that it is another day for poor Tuanzong. He remembered that the order to kill Wanruashong this time was not issued by Hokage, but by Danzo. No wonder the crowd wants to find trouble with Danzo, not Hokage. Naruto shook his head. I have to say that as the king of Konoha Pot, Danzo does not lose his title of Konoha's Dark. One piece counts as one piece. All the actions that could not get on the table were all pushed to Tuanzong. No wonder Ape Flying Sun Chopper is unwilling to kill Tuanzong even if he encounters assassination. This Konoha Pot King's ideological consciousness is really high. As long as the Ape Flying Sun wants to do it, but it is difficult to do it, he will all follow. And Naruto finally knew why Sarutobi was relieved to leave the village. Behind him were Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi, 2 Sharingan users. That's a lot, it's time to eat. Matkai sat in front of the sukiyaki made by Maruhoshi Kosuke from the cauldron behind him and shouted at Naruto. Naruto smiled. Here it comes. And Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi on the tree twitched out of the corner of their eyes. Do the task with the pot. True TM excessive. Looking at the soldier food pill in their hands, the hearts of the two were suddenly extremely depressed. Episode 46. The same is inferior. No wonder everyone likes to bring Kosuke. This old man with a pot on his back is so convenient. Find some mushrooms and big game during the break and come to camp alive. Kai gulped sukiyaki and praised. It's so nice to have Kosuke by your side when you go out. Naruto also gobbled up. I have to say that in addition to throwing out strength, Maruxing Kosuke's cooking skills are really awesome. Maruxing Kosuke smiled slightly. Don't worry, there is still after eating. K, eat more, gather your strength and chakra. The other 2 Naka shinobi looked around nervously. Does it matter? Captain. The bonfire is burning so vigorously, the location is exposed, right? What if the enemy comes here? Kai said indifferently. It's good to dare to fight. Our mission is 80% to find out whether the other party is an enemy or not. Naruto glanced at Matkai, really didn't know how this guy's brain grew. In normal times, he looks like an idiot, but when it comes to the task, his intuition is accurate and scary. Uchiha Itachi on the treetops not far away looked at Kai in surprise and asked Kakashi, Captain. They don't know what the mission is about, do they? Kakashi looked at Kai and nodded. It seems that only the high level of Konoha and us who accepted the task know the inside story. Uchiha sighed. Unexpectedly, the person obviously did not know the inside of the mission, but he sensed the essence of the task. Kakashi didn't speak. Hurry up and resupply, they're almost finished. Immediately, he took out a bitter soldier's food pill and stuffed it into his mouth. The ferret swallowed it with his eyes closed next to him. This taste would definitely not be eaten if it was not to replenish physical strength. It was like the oversized pill Sakura made for Naruto, although it was unpalatable and poisonous, but there is no doubt that the things she made by Chimtsunade are indeed supplementing physical strength. Kakashi looked at the crowd and sighed. In a sense, this really fits the dark part. What? They are leisurely eating hot pot in the sun, but we are eating military food pills in the dark. Uchiha Itachi laughed. It's okay, I'm well aware of the nature of the dark part. Kakashi frowned at Itachi, who didn't care. Yes? In his opinion, if it were not for the problem, no one would want to serve as the dark department. In Tuanzang's words, it is the darkness of the heart. He also discovered that there was probably an incomparable darkness hidden in Uchiha's heart. This said, I want to eat hot pot and eat together, what are you doing squatting in the tree? An abrupt voice sounded from between the two. The faces of the two changed drastically in an instant, jerk away to the sides. In midair, they fixed their eyes, but found that it was Naruto who was looking at him with a grin. He actually found us? The two looked at Naruto in shock, their hearts full of shock. Yo, Naruto greeted with a smile, all followed all the way, just go down and eat together, Grandpa Kosuke just happened to do more. Kakashi quickly put on his mask and snapped, go and complete your mission, don't interfere with our dark mission. Ah, Kakashi is really you. I thought Naruto fooled me. At this time, Mekke's voice also sounded, but what he said directly made Kakashi's face change greatly. Shut up. How can the Dark Ninja be said to be the real name of the Dark Ninja on a mission? Naruto pouted disdainfully. Your white hair seems to be unknown to anyone. As soon as the 1,000 birds are released, the fool knows who you are. Just cover his ears and steal the bell. The corners of Kakashi's eyes jumped wildly. Although he was telling the truth, he was still in pain. Go. Kakashi greeted, and followed Uchiha Itachi, and disappeared in an instant. Naruto pouted, what a thing. I still think that I can fight with myself and earn some destiny points. Recently, I wanted to find him because I had been on a mission, and I couldn't touch him. It's a big experience, baby. Naruto, let's go back, we still have to carry out the mission. Kakashi is right, we can't interfere with the mission of the Dark Division. Kai already understood by this time, the dark part should be the one to prevent problems with this scroll exchange. On the other side, Uchiha Weasel said with a shocked look, this guy's strength is unfathomable, even Sharingan didn't even notice when he appeared. Kakashi also looked solemn. This time, in addition to solving the problem of possible defection, he also has the task of monitoring the human pillar force, or to prevent the violent departure of human pillar power. When the time comes, use your own chakra eye to hypnotize it back. But at this point, it seems, the Konoha high level far underestimated the strength of Naruto Uzumaki, and with his own strength, he could really stop the violent Naruto? He remembered being at the Maruko shop 3 years ago. At that time, Naruto also needed to use the nine-tailed chakra. He was also sure to subdue him easily, but now he appeared silently beside him, which shocked Kakashi. But a task is a task after all. In any case, he had to complete the task assigned by Hokage. Naruto and the others finished eating. Matkey stood up and yelled, then everyone. Burning the blazing flame of youth, let's go. After speaking, Matkey ran away directly with a cigarette. The two Naka ninja behind him were stunned, and suddenly came back to their senses, and shouted, huh? Ganisak. Wait a minute, Captain, wait for us. Maruxing Kosuke on the side was carrying the pot with a look of shame. I can't get young at my age. Naruto on the side laughed, it's okay, let's go slowly. When everyone came to the agreed place of exchange, 3 masked black shadows slowly walked out from the rock crevices at the bottom of the cliff. Episode 47, It's the Country of the Forest. Matkey asked to the female ninja opposite. That's right, hand over the scroll. The female ninja said with some impatience. Naruto raised his eyebrows, what are so arrogant? Really, how awesome is your little broken place? When I watched the plot in my previous life, I wondered where this raiding group came from. Later, it became known that he had stolen intelligence under the slogan of alliance with Konoha. It was obvious that this group of comics was inspired by Yunin Village, and felt that everyone could take advantage of a little here in Konoha. This time, although Sarutobi Hinata's attitude was tough, he finally chose to endure the attempt by Yunin Village to capture Hinata. Therefore, this group of people thought that Konoha was a bully and definitely did not dare to start a war. But they forgot that Rinja Yunin is one of the 5 great ninja villages. It's completely different from the buffer zone of a big country like his. When everyone heard Naruto's mockery, his face changed. What do you mean? Such an important secret with a little brat? That's a lot. Kai gestured for Naruto not to get excited, as a qualified shinobi, or to focus on the task. Take who is our freedom, come and exchange the scrolls. The female ninja snorted coldly, you guys bring it first. Kai frowned, yes. He handed the scroll over. Wanruazhong took it and opened it directly, seeing a mocking expression on the face under the intelligence mask inside. Seems right. What about your scrolls? Kai asked expressionlessly. The female ninja handed a white scroll to Kai. Kai's pupils shrank. A direct flying kick kicked the scroll into the air. Spells with explosive words leaked out of the scroll. A violent explosion sounded in the sky. Detonate the reel. Metke quickly leaned in front of the female ninja and said with a smile, it should be scrolls exchanged, right? The female ninja's face changed, so fast. She hurriedly led the person to the halfway up the cliff and sneered. Konoha broke the agreement and launched an attack on us, so we will take retaliatory action against him. Matt K shouted angrily, what a big deal. It is you who broke the agreement. Humph. She snorted coldly and retreated. Dozens of ambushed ninjas appeared densely packed on the cliffs. The two civilians had seen this kind of battle, and they watched the mountains of ninjas' legs swing. Captain? Matt K frowned fearlessly. Was it intended to betray from the beginning? And at this moment, the disappeared Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi appeared in front of the two again. Then it's up to us, you guys escape. Dark part? Reinforcements? The two parties were surprised and delighted. The female leader hurriedly stepped back and shouted, do it. To rock collapse. Dozens of ninjas used ninjutsu in unison, and suddenly, countless giant rocks on the cliffs on both sides of the cliff were shattered by ninjutsu and smashed downwards. This is exactly the ninjutsu that crushes Obito. Kai shouted with a sharp wave of his hand, you guys run away. The two Naka shinobi had been waiting for this sentence for a long time, and they pulled out their legs and ran towards the rear. However, the ground shake caused by ninjutsu caused them to stand unsteadily and fall to the ground. Kakashi's hands quickly froze. To do until you wall. A thick stone wall with a dog's head rose up to block all the boulders that rolled down. Grass appeared, a dog's head hangs on the wall of the dirt stream. Naruto shouted with a look of excitement. As a cloud fire shadow, it is a taste to see many fire shadow terriers in the previous life. Especially Kakashi, which is the unit of measurement of the ninja chakra. Even if there is a lack of blue, the dog's head must be hung on the wall of the soil flow. Kakashi in front of him stumbled. Now is the time to talk about this? The female leader who thought that Kakashi and the others were smashed to death laughed. What Konoha ninjas, just a bunch of idiots. However, when the smoke cleared, it was possible. She frowned when she saw the Konoha ninja standing intact at the bottom of the cliff. All the rockfall was blocked by Kakashi's earth flow wall. Mike Kai looked at the shocked General Ruajong and hurriedly waved to the two people who were dragging their feet again. You guys hurry back. Maruxing Kosuka also followed them quickly and ran to the rear. At this time, Uchiha Itachi asked strangely to Kakashi, who saved everyone, I heard that you even killed your companions for the mission? This was told to him by the other team members before he came. However, Kakashi chose to consume a large amount of chakra to block the falling rocks in order to save several ninjas behind him. It stands to reason that with their skills, they can easily avoid these Luoshur to better preserve their strength. This is the first choice that is more conducive to the battle next. Kakashi stood up and said, I will never let my companion be killed, and someone entrusted this belief to me along with this Sharingan. Then he turned to Kai and Naruto and said, you two run away too. Naruto was still talking, and Kai immediately shouted excitedly, still on a mission, how can you escape? The people above were not happy. Damn, I'm still in the mood to chat. It's like I can let you go. The female leader shouted, continue. Immediately, dozens of ninjas pressed their hands to the ground again. To rock collapse. This time ninjutsu destroyed more rocks. Countless giant stones fell from the sky, and the power of this group ninjutsu was no less than the scale of ninjutsu released by an elite upper ninja. 8 doors Dunjia 5th do door open. Mad Kai roared, his whole body was bloodshot, and green chakra suddenly appeared all over his body. I saw him jumping back and forth among the falling rocks and rushing directly onto the cliff. Uchiha looked shocked, just use physical skills. Kakashi looked at the falling rocks in the sky and frowned, I'll sigh later. Saying that, he greeted Naruto behind him and retreated in an instant. Hide. However, Naruto had no intention of leaving. The departing Kakashi's face changed. Broken, too young, suddenly saw this kind of battle between ninjas, so froze? The female leader sneered, I was shouting quite loudly just now, but I didn't expect it to be a straw bale. Kakashi made a hurried stop at this time, ready to go and rescue Naruto again. Yet the next second, Naruto grinned, show you a baby. I saw him clapping his hands and roaring, Mudan Tree Realm Birth. Episode 48, Nanny. Kakashi's eyes widened, the knotted roots suddenly rose up, like sweeping away small pebbles, instantly shooting away the falling stones in the sky. Naruto stood on a vine that grew straight from the bottom of the cliff to the top. To be precise, the entire valley was filled with giant trees. Wanru, the two Naka shinobi, Marushi Kosuka, Kakashi, and the others all looked at Naruto in shock. Between the 1,000-hand pillars? The people remembered the terrifying name they had once had. Naruto looked at the people below and smiled, you call it again. The female leader cried out in fright, withdraw. Withdraw quickly. However, at this time, Kai had already run to their side. Just kick a few people unconscious with 2 kicks. Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi, who came back to their senses, also quickly chased after them from behind. Ku-Wu, Shuriken, Ratchet, and how Fireball instantly solved this group of terrified people. It didn't take a while. Dozens of people were left, only the female ninja named the leader. Kakashi and a Ratchet rushed towards the female ninja. At this moment, a wooden hand suddenly appeared on the ground and slapped Kakashi aside. The art of Mudanjibu bag. Kakashi looked at Naruto standing at the top of the vine with an ugly face and scolded, "What are you doing?" Naruto spread his hands and said with a sad look, "Don't you see that they are already unable to resist? How can you still rush to kill people?" And Kai on the side also said after lifting the 8 doors of Dunjia, "That's right Kakashi, they're no threat now, there's no need to do that." Uchiha instantly moved to Kakashi's side. The two looked at Naruto with solemn faces. "I advise you not to block our mission, otherwise for the sake of the mission, don't blame us for doing something to you." Kai's face on the side was solemn, although he desperately didn't want to continue to mend this group of guys who had no chicken power. But Kakashi is the Dark Division, and he is one position higher in class than these bright shinobi. Just like preparers and temporary workers, in the event of a conflict, focus on the tasks of the dark part. When Uchiha stopped the water and took the weasel to meet the route to chase and kill the dark part, it was also because the two were of the same level, and the water stop would make a move. Otherwise, if you change an ordinary ninja, Shueishuei will not rashly intervene in the task of the route. So Kai persuaded Naruto, "Forget it, they are also on a mission." But is Naruto soft-hearted? Of course not. Naruto has been thinking about these two experienced babies for a long time. He shouted at Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi, "If you want to kill them, get him over my corpse first." "Hey, Naruto." Kai on the side waited for the big eyes to persuade. Kakashi was already impatient at this time. Although Naruto has Muduan, he is not worthy of Naruto. After all, he is only 6 years old, and Mudun himself has not seen it. "Hands on. Capture him alive." Uchiha received the order and quickly rushed towards Naruto. The shurikens in his hand flew in midair and collided one after another, flying towards Naruto from different angles. Naruto smiled. In terms of observation, the white eye is much stronger than the chakra eye, not to mention that he also has the reincarnation eye of the final form of the white eye. Face the shuriken in the sky. Naruto just took out the kunai that had been kunai and threw it towards the sky. Kumu collides with the shuriken, and the shuriken and kunai change their angle at the same time and collide with the rest of the shuriken. Like a chain reaction, sparks of metal clashing flashed in the sky. The shurikens were all reoriented like rain and fell around Naruto. "What?" Uchiha looked at Naruto in shock. The reason why the shuriken art of the Uchiha clan is remembered is entirely because of the strong observation power of the Sharingan. As a result, Naruto was just an ordinary bloodline ninja, and he actually cultivated his shuriken to such a strong point. Don't be in a daze. The other party is a human pillar force. His chakra is far ahead of us, quick victory, Kakashi burst out, lay done, chasing teeth. To do an earth dragon bullet technique. A huge earth dragon and a thunder beast fused into a review ninjutsu and rushed towards Naruto. Huh? Want to use a tribute restraint? Naruto smiled playfully. Uchiha Itachi, on the other hand, did not have the thunder earth attribute chakra, so he spewed out a huge fireball towards Naruto. Fire can also burn wood, no. Naruto looked at the terrifying ninjutsu that struck and smiled. It's a pity that the blood succession limit is not in the category of attribute restraint, and Mudun is not a simple combination of earth and water done. Feel the charm of the original Hokage, Muduan. Wood dragon art. A huge wooden dragon instantly rushed out from the vine under his feet, directly dispersing Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi's ninjutsu without losing its power. In the shocked eyes of the two, Malone directly tied the two of them up with a winding. The chakra in the body was withdrawn from the body, and soon the two became extremely weak. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the elite Kakashi of the elite shinobi banner and obtaining the destiny value of 20,000 points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully defeating the special shinobi Uchiha Itachi and obtaining 10,000 destiny points. Naruto immediately grinned when he heard the pleasant voice of the system. This is 10 times the value of destiny given by the group of little fart children in the ninja school. Even if the second pillar was hundreds of times, they were only given 500 points at this time. After all, their current strength was too weak, and the luck they carried was limited. But the two people in front of you are different. The lowest of the two are particularly tolerant, and they are in the midst of the important events of the Night of Extermination at the height of their luck in the timeline. It can be said that at this time, the two of them have an extremely far-reaching impact on the direction of the world, and their luck is naturally explosive. It can be said that during this time period, even his own luck is not as strong as the two of them, and the destiny value defeated is naturally considerable. And at this time, the weak Kakashi snapped, "Naruto Uzumaki, are you planning to disobey Naruto-sama's orders?" Naruto snapped his nose and said contemptuously, "I don't believe Naruto-sama would give such a cruel order." Naruto knew this time that it was Danzo who was behind the order this time. Kakashi choked. Seeing that the mission was about to fail, he shouted with a clear conscience, "This is Naruto of Naruto-sama, he made us follow the command of Danzo-sama." Originally, Kakashi didn't expect Naruto to believe it. As a result, Naruto scratched his head. "Oh, so that's the case, you said it earlier, I won't do it. But it's okay, I'll help you." The art of Mudun cuttings. Suddenly, countless wooden spears appeared on the vines, instantly submerging the people to the end. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully killing the General Ruajong and obtaining 200 destiny points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully killing the General Ruajong and obtaining 100 destiny points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully killing ordinary Ruajong and obtaining 50 destiny points. Kakashi, Episode 49, I'm going to report to Master Tuanzo, your mission is over. Kakashi, who returned to the village, instructed Uchiha Itachi. Although there were some accidents, the mission was finally completed. Uchiha Itachi looked at Kakashi's chakra eyes and hurriedly asked, the captain's chakra eye doesn't open naturally, right? Kakashi nodded. Uchiha asked again, do you get a different power than your own? You are not from the Uchiha clan, but with the Sharingan, you can use the same power as the Uchiha clan. Which side of the ninja do you think you are? Kakashi looked at Uchiha Itachi with a strange look. I never thought about this Sharingan was entrusted to me by a friend, and he reminded me that I must never forget the most important things. A friend gave it? Remind me not to let my companions be killed. Uchiha Itachi's pupil shrank when he heard this. The scales in his heart tilted a little more towards Konoha again. Not only did he choose Konoha, but there were also other Uchiha people who abandoned the mustard of the clan and chose to give the Sharingan to outsiders. Uchiha invisibly deepens his dissatisfaction with the clansmen who are planning to rebel. And at this time the task handover, Kai placed the scroll on the table of the 3 generations, and told the 3 generations what happened. When he heard that Naruto was able to use the wooden dungeon, the face of the 3 generations of Hokage changed drastically. What? Naruto, you have learned to use wood? Naruto looked at the shocked ape flying sun and nodded with a smile. As soon as you learn it, it's quite simple. Ape Fairy was furious. Why did he keep sending the Thousand Hands to the front, eventually causing the Thousand Hands clan to be cut off? It's not that he has seen the terrifying wooden dun of the Thousand Hands clan. That was not the level that their group of civilian ninjas, or even the ninjas of the small clan, could achieve through hard cultivation. Even the number no longer poses any threat in front of the gods of the ninja world. This is a chasm that he cannot bridge by any political means. In order to truly transform the public world into a family world, this uncontrollable force must disappear. Therefore, Sarutobi would rather let Konoha's strength change from a dozen to a dozen, and a dozen is a lot of trouble, and he will also destroy the Senju clan. Because a ninja god appeared in Bauchi, then all his previous efforts were in vain. At this time, Naruto actually learned Muduan. This also means that Naruto has the wood blood succession limit. What's even more terrifying is that Naruto also has a 9-tailed chakra that he doesn't even have between the 1,000-hand pillars. This is the strength between Uchiha and the Senju pillar. Now these 2 bugs are actually integrated. If this grows up, who else in the ninja world can be his opponent? For a while, Sarutobi Hinata raised an incomparable jealousy towards Naruto. He now threw Mudun as a favor to Naruto after the meeting. Even though Naruto's will of fire was particularly strong now, but no one in power can tolerate a threat that can overthrow themselves at any time. Even if the threat is unmatched in loyalty. 3 generations? 3 generations of adults. Kai's voice pulled the contemplative ape back to his thoughts. Huh? Yes, is it? Good work guys, Kei said seriously. I mean, you said I wasn't suitable for the dark part, and I finally understood why. The 3 generations rolled their eyes. Darker tasks you haven't touched yet. However, Matkei was excited, but if you want to ask Kakashi if he is Kazukabu, I don't think he's suitable. Ape Fairy narrowed his eyes. Although Kai is more enthusiastic, his instincts are right. Although he has been trying to expose Kakashi to Konoha's deepest hidden darkness all these years, but he always had the same bottom line in his heart as his father. That is, the life of the companion is more important than the task. This was obviously a fatal flaw for a dark captain. Now that Kakashi has risen to the top, Sarutobi will not let a person who is not ruthless enough be his right arm. I know your opinion, I will consider it. Ape Fairy smiled at Kai. You guys have worked hard, there is no task in the near future, you go down and rest. Naruto stepped forward at this time. What about the task honorarium? I killed dozens of ninjas this time, so it's not a loss according to the S-level mission honorarium, right? You give 18 million, I don't dislike it. I hate it. Ape Flying Sun beheaded the Black Line, Matt Kai all reported, obviously Kakashi, they solved the enemy, you are at best a mending knife. And beat up your teammates. If it weren't for Kai's report that Naruto heard his own orders, he gave up blocking Kakashi. The current Sarutobi even wanted to imprison Naruto. At worst, he also tried to set a seal or spell to prevent Naruto from mutinying. He was even wondering if he would go to the Hyuga clan and ask for the caged bird spell to come and press Naruto. But considering Naruto's relationship with the Hyuga clan, Sarutobi Hinata resisted this tempting intention. No pay. Whoever let you hurt Kakashi and Itachi, your mission reward all healed them. Naruto rolled his eyes in disgust. Where did I hurt them? I can only say that the control is gone, chakra is gone, and the refining is not saved for a few days to recover. Seeing the ape flying sun, his forehead was exposed. Naruto immediately turned and walked towards the door. Bah, if you don't give it, you won't give it to the petty, and you won't do tasks again in the future. Looking at Naruto's child's actions, Sarutobi laughed angrily. Yes, this is a 6-year-old. Now Naruto is a double-edged sword. Once the brainwashing is successfully used for yourself, maybe you can really complete the feat of dominating the ninja world. Thinking of the ape flying sun chop here, he finally felt a lot better. However, it was not half an hour. Tuanzo had already walked in angrily with the roots. Sunchop. You. Danzo, I am the Hokage. Tuanzong. Grass mud horse. Episode 50, Lounge in the Dark section. Kakashi is putting the dark equipment in the locker. Yamato leaned over to Kakashi and asked, Kakashi-senpai, how are the newcomers? Kakashi turned around. Very good, and it will definitely be a better dark part than me in the future. Seeing this, Yamato hurriedly worshipped. No, seniors are also excellent. As Yamato, who was pulled up from the roots by Kakashi, he is extremely grateful to Kakashi. For Yamato, the darkness in the dark part is much better than the root. However, Kakashi shook his head. The mission of the dark part is always accompanied by darkness. Yamato was stunned. What's wrong? So far, Kakashi's face was ugly, and he was upset. It's going on. Yes, whether it is cheating or killing companions is also a task. Naruto Uzumaki. If you behave like this, will Sandaime really tolerate you? For Kakashi, who has been a captain in the dark department for many years, the true face of the 3 generations is naturally clear. As the head of a village, how can there be only light? Hokage, but a shadow of darkness. Even when Naruto was in power, he faced countless ninjas. Orochimaru, who used various people from other villages as experimental subjects, was eventually imprisoned by him in Konoha to continue his research. At that time, Naruto was no longer black and white, but gray who was in power. The other side, after Uchiha finished the handover, he changed into civilian clothes early and waited for Sasuke to leave school. As the bell rang, Sasuke, who had a blue nose and a swollen face, walked out of the school. Ah. Nissan, Sasuke ran to Uchiha Itachi excitedly. Why did you leave work so early today? Looking at the bruises on Sasuke's face, Uchiha Itachi's face darkened. Gives, who hit you? When Sasuke heard this, he suddenly seemed to have found a backer. He turned to look at Naruto, who came out with his arm around Hinata and shouted, That's him. Suddenly, he said that he would consider the results of this month's cultivation, and then beat up our entire class. Naruto Uzumaki, my brother is here. My brother is a dark elite, he can blast you in minutes. The cold sweat of Uchiha Itachi in front of Sasuke suddenly broke out. This TM is a pervert. Previously, it was afraid to cause the fear of Konoha's high-ranking people to stay away from Naruto, now purely because of Naruto's strength. Mudun, plus the 9 tails. When he was 6 years old, he only had the strength to shinobi, and he was at the level of middle patience. After opening the Sharingan eye at the age of 8, he barely fought against the dark part, and he also broke his foot because his body could not keep up with the eyes. And Naruto is only 6 years old, he was already able to easily kill himself and Kakashi in seconds. Even the dark part of the Sharingan is the proudest, and the human pillar force that can knock each other awake is simply his nemesis. Let yourself fight him, isn't this looking for guilt? And to say consider strength, Sasuke's progress since entering the school is visible to the naked eye. Uchiha Itachi is naturally not good to say much. And Naruto looked at the arrogant Sasuke and teased Uchiha Itachi, Yo, isn't this the dark elite? Have time to pick up your brother? Nissan. Above. Teach him a lesson, Sasuke shouted from the sidelines. However, Uchiha Itachi suddenly bowed. Mayududu, thanks to you taking care of it. Looking at the respectful Itachi, Naruto was bored. At this time, beating him had no destiny value. Naruto waved his hand boringly, and put his arm around Hinata, and walked away. Sasuke looked at his own brother with a shocked expression. Nissan. Why? Why not teach him a lesson? Uchiha immediately said with a serious face. Gives, you have to remember, study well with Naruto in the future, you are his student, remember this. Sasuke said with a look of displeasure. Why? What kind of student? I don't want to be his student, I have to be his opponent. Sooner or later one day I will become stronger than Naruto, and then catch up with my brother. Uchiha Itachi looked at Sasuke, who did not admit defeat, and touched his head dotingly. Is it? We Sasuke are awesome and I'm sure you can do it. At this time, he had not yet received the task, but from the bottom of his heart, he began to find a backer for his Ududu. And after seeing Naruto's strength, he naturally became the first choice. But he has not yet received the task of monitoring Uchiha, so it is not so urgent. Sasuke was immediately full of confidence when he heard Itachi's encouragement. It's amazing. I was also convinced that I could do it, so Naruto I continued to talk to him. Saying that, Sasuke ran to the Uchiha clan land with excitement. Uchiha stretched out his hand behind his back and finally put it down. This is also for his good, beaten up, it's better than dying. It's night. Among the shrines of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Weasel said lightly to the Uchiha clansmen gathered below. Someone may already know that my son Uchiha Itachi has entered the dark part. I believe that in the future, he will get more and more information around Hokage and other high-level officials. This also means that the intelligence that the Uchiha family is about to have will increase. 1,007. Is there anything you want to report? Uchiha tightened his heart and stood up from the corner. Yes, although I just joined the right and didn't get any important news, it seems that the top level of Konoha is not united at the moment. In such a situation, what kind of behavior should our family make, I think will determine the future of Konoha. Thought about it for a long time. Uchiha Itachi didn't say Naruto's strength after all. Shursui on the side looked at Itachi with a smile. He knew that Itachi was standing in Konoha, just like himself. However, Fugaku in the front said loudly, that's right, Konoha's future should have the participation of our Uchiha clan. The Uchiha people below suddenly shouted excitedly, that's right. That's right. The ferret sitting on the ground suddenly saw the stone tablet of the Uchiha clan behind Fugaku, and his pupils suddenly shrank. That is,